Thank you for having me in your 1 Million Cups group. My name is, as I already stated, Henning Schwienem. I'm the co-founder of Vendux. In my career, I've been a global nomad. I lived and have done business on the ground in around 45 countries. And I spent the last 20 years building, transforming, leading sales teams around the world. I did that in a variety of companies. Bayer is a large German pharmaceutical company. Novadex is a startup, or was a startup business in Overland Park, Kansas. And then UL Underwriter Laboratories out of Chicago is the well-known US-based companies. And so between those three, I was in charge of selling different products and services. And in a lot of those roles, I not only was in charge of sales, but I also sold to sales and marketing organizations. One of my passions is sailing. I grew up sailing. My dad taught me everything there is to know about sailing, and it gave me an appreciation for leadership. Because on a ship, on a boat, there always has to be that one person in charge, the captain at the helm of the boat that ensures a successful journey. And likewise, I believe that in sales, leadership and a sales leader can make all the difference between success or wrecking the business. And when I left my last sales leadership role 1.5 years ago, I was looking to put my skill set to work for small businesses and work as an interim or fractional sales leader. And I had two observations. The first one was I didn't have the right connections. I wasn't connected to CEOs or founders or owners or board members or VCs, all the people that would make a decision to engage an interim sales leader. And then I looked for a placement agency and I couldn't find one. There was none out there that focused on the sales leadership role. And so that led me to say, I'm just going to build a matchmaker. I'm going to build that placement agency, and that's what Vendux is. And we help companies fill a void. It's either a capacity or capability void they have in sales and in sales leadership by bringing in the perfect match with an experienced sales leader that's immediately available. In 2019, 35,000 sales leadership positions in the US became vacant. That's the market opportunity 2 years ago, or was the market opportunity 2 years ago. That number continues to grow because the median tenure of a sales leader is shrinking. In 2018, it was down to 2.5 years. Then there is the overall trend towards the gig economy, and by 2027, more than half of the US workforce will do some form of freelance work. And lastly, a lot of people are familiar with the fractional CFO as the most popular or most well-known concept or functional area. The outsourced contracted sales leader is still lesser known. The challenge that the business faces is clear. It's to deliver growth, and growth comes through sales. And most founders or owners or CEOs do not have a sales leadership background. They lack the experience to build a sales team, and it shows. I talked to a lot of founders that have hired and fired salespeople within 6 months. They may be promoting their best salesperson to manager without providing them leadership training. And statistics show that when companies hire their first VP of sales, that person gets fired after 12 to 18 months. So a year or 1.5 years is all that person stays in place. And on the other hand, there are seasoned sales leaders available. By my estimation, there are between 3,000 and 5,000 experienced sales leaders in the US that are available for assignments, that are operating in the gig economy. And so on both sides, the processes in place are ineffective and wasteful. And it's the ideal space for someone to be the matchmaker and bridge the gap between great sales leadership and companies who have a need for those. And Vendux is that matchmaker. And what makes us unique is that we are built by sales leadership practitioners. Myself and my co-founder have spent collectively 35 years leading sales teams. We're not recruiters or consultants or HR professionals. We're sales leadership practitioners. We match on what I call weighted and role relevant criteria. This isn't about finding a sales leader in Kansas City or in Santa Barbara. It's way more detailed to make sure that that sales leader is the perfect fit. And we're technology enabled. We're using a proprietary algorithm to identify this perfect match. Today, most of those 3,000 to 5,000 sales leaders find their assignments within their own network. And that's very limiting for the individual. And so a lot of executives I talk to speak about this role they have as feast or famine. They're either in a role, working, engaged, or they spend a lot of time between assignments trying to find the next one. There are some companies out there who operate in this space. There are those who are more like a common brand. There are others who are sort of online platforms, and very few are really focused on the sales function. And if they are, they're not matchmakers. And so with that competitive scenario, I estimate that in 2018, only about 1,000 of those 35,000 vacancies were filled through one of those competitors. And when I speak about, or when I get the question, who is your biggest competitor? I always say it's ignorance. It's CEOs or owners or founders not knowing that this interim option even exists. And as a result, they take a different route. They go through the executive recruiting process, or they hire consultants or sales trainers, or worst, they do nothing when they encounter issues and problems in sales. When I launched Vendux, I thought initially every CEO in the US is a potential customer. That, of course, was a little too broad for a target audience. And so it became quickly apparent that the ideal client, the primary ideal client, is a scaling business, a business where a founder, often somebody with a technology background, has built a great product. He or she has proven the salability of the product. And now it is time to grow, often after a Series A or Series B investment. And one example from this list is a company, PureForge, out of San Diego. They're an automotive aftermarket manufacturer, founded by 3 technology founders. They have a disruptive product. They've already hired and fired 2 sales leaders, and they were still looking to build a successful sales team. And we were able to help them by placing an interim SVP of sales and marketing that really created an innovative revenue strategy, developed a pipeline, and hooked up with several strategic partners. So where are we today? We have, on the one side of our matchmaking, at present, over 180 executives on our roster. And by my observation of other platforms, this is already the largest community of sales executives that are available for interim or fractional sales leadership roles. And on the other side, we are reaching out through content and networks to build brand recognition for Vendux and for the fractional and interim model. And so we're connected today to over 2,000 founders. We have referral agreements in place with, for example, with other fractional organizations that operate in other functional areas. We made 4 assignments in 2020, all but one in the second half of the year. We made 2 assignments in January of this year, and we're currently looking at a pipeline of 8 proposals that are open and out with companies. So all in all, sort of an increasing momentum that we have. I am currently the only person working full-time in the company. My co-founder is silent. We have outsourced some of our marketing and some of the technology development. And by judging if the business continues to develop the way it did in the last 6 or 7 months, I'm hopeful that we can bring on more contractors and eventually employees in the later part of 2021. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. I look forward to your questions now.